back, guys, to another episode of Fidel's Outdoors. Today we're going to be installing the Brookyln PK13 electric trolling motor. This is a 30-pound thrust electric motor. I can't wait to install this in my kayak, so let's get started. Alright guys, we're back inside the shop. Now I'm going to go over the tools and item we're going to use for this trolling motor install. So let's get started. Alright guys, so this is all the items and tools that we're going to be using for this trolling motor install. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, first thing you're going to need is going to be 11 feet of AWG marine grade wire. Alright, this is a must. Alright, you're going to need some 8 gauge crimp butt connectors. Alright, you're gonna need 8 gauge studs. These are a quarter inch, and they look like this. These are to connect the cable to the battery. Alright, also you're gonna need the trolling motor plug. I got this from Bass Pro, and the trolling motor socket. Also, we're going to need the yakattack expandable sleeving material. This is to protect the wires from the UV light from the sun. So this is really nice because when you press it, it expands. So you could run few wires in through here, which is really nice. But once you cut it, you have to like burn the ends so it don't unravel. Now this is a 3/8. I'm gonna be using the 3/4. This stuff is really good. Also, we're gonna be using the yakattack through hole wiring grommet kit. This is my last grommet and bracket that I had, because I bought a kit and I already used it, and this is the last one in that kit. So we're going to be using this, and for this install you're going to be using the letter B, because these letters, these grommets, they're all letter numbers and everything, which is nice. Alright, so we're going to be using the letter B for this application. And we're going to be using this heavy-duty deep cycle marine battery. I'm going to be using this temporarily. I'm going to switch it later on to something more efficient, but for now we're gonna be using this here. Also, we're going to be using the contact. This is some type of like gasket material, and what this is so it doesn't things doesn't slide. And I just cut a piece of this and made a gasket, and this template I made, I'm going to be going in full detail later on the video, but I made this template and I cut a piece of this gasket here to the shape of this, so that way when the T-bar sits on the kayak, it doesn't slide, which once again I'm going to be going over in detail on this template and this material that we use. Now, if you can't find that, this is a step guard that I got from Home Depot. This is the stuff they use on the step, so keep from people sliding and slipping. So this is a nice rubber thin material which you can make your gasket for the T-bar. So it's nice and thin, and this will keep it from the T-bar rubbing, because you don't want basically the T-bar metal rubbing on plastic. You don't want the metal rubbing on plastic, because eventually I think that will wear off, you know what I mean? So just to give it some added protection, I'm going to be using this. Okay. Also, Tools, you're going to need a 7/64 drill bit. Okay. You're going to be needing a step drill bit. And this is for drilling a 1-inch hole for that the trolling motor socket that we're going to be installing on the kayak. And you're going to need some couple of stainless steel screws. Now that this socket thing here, it comes with black screws, but we're not going to be using that. We're going to be using the stainless steel. Okay. Razor, a Phillips screwdriver stubby, and you're going to be using also a crimp pliers, so that way we could crimp the battery cable with the stud, so that way we could connect that really nice. You're going to be using wire ties, wire cutters, a probe light. This is pretty handy. This so that way when you drill the hole, if you're trying to look where the wire is at, this will help you out. Some Sharpie pens, scissors, shrink tube, a roll of kite string. This stuff is really handy. I like to use this with this garter bender fishing wiring. This is to like wire. This is so that you could run your wires in the kayak. Stuff is really good. Some ultra clear silicone. Flashlight. This additional flashlight. A heat gun. And a drill. Alright, so let's get started. Alright guys, so I got the TBar connected to the trolling motor, and it's very simple. You just connect it with this bolt and it just wraps around and tightens nice and secure. Alright, also remember earlier I said about the template that I made? Well, this is the template over here, and I just traced it and made my rubber gaskets. So I did. I stuck 2 gaskets, one of each, in there. So when that sits on the kayak, it's not going to shift or slide or rub on the plastic. All right. So let's put this bad boy in. There we go. Alright, so you see how the gasket is sitting in between the metal piece and the plastic of the gasket of the kayak? So that's so it don't shift at all. Alright, so we're going to secure it here, lock it in place, lock it in place, and lock it in place. So that it's not going nowhere. And the height that you want to use on the shaft, you want to measure like 4 fingers. So 4 fingers. So you want to put your hand like that from the back, from this bracket, and it should be 4 fingers there. But also make sure that the shaft on the bottom, the propeller, is not touching the kayak, which in my case is not. So I'm using 4 fingers today. All right, guys. So this is the bottom of the kayak, and the reason why I was having a little difficult time sliding the trolling motor was because of this brace on my cart. So basically what I should have done was just slide the whole cart back a little bit more, and I wouldn't have that problem. Well, anyway, just wanted to show you the blade that the height of it, that it's not touching anything. And it's perfect. All right, so now I'm going to take the cup tray and I'm going to install it into the slot. And now what we're going to do is we're going to cut the length of wire that we're going to be using. All right, so the first step we're going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting this main wires from the trolling motor, the positive and the negative. We're going to be cutting about this length where I got the zip tie. So that's from here to here is 17 inches. All right. So additional tool that you're going to need is a wire cutter. So the first one, I'll do the black. Second, this deposit. All right, so this wire, we're going to be using this for the back. So don't throw that away. We're going to be using this for the back. And now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be connecting this plug. Okay, we're going to be connecting the plug. All right, guys, so I got the wires cut and I got the ends trimmed there. Now, two things additional that you're going to need is some vacuum caps. You can pick this up at a part store, and a small crimper. All right. So the reason for what the caps are, I'll show you. So you're going to install the caps in here. So the reason for the caps, so when you run this through this mesh material, it doesn't get hung up. And you do the same thing on this side. Okay. So now that we got those in, we're gonna take one end, and remember, once you finish, you got to burn these ends, or else they're gonna unravel. All right. So now, because these are so thick, you're gonna press it in like that. That's the end. That's the end, I think. Yeah. There you go. So you're gonna go like that, and put your first one in, and your second one in. And now you're gonna just feed it in. Now these are some thick wires. I decided to use the 3/8 because my 3/4 hasn't come in yet, so I'm gonna go with the 3/8. Actually, this 3/8 one, it works even better because it fits there perfect. So you see how it's feeding up? And then later on, we'll burn those tap in so it doesn't get unraveled. So I got my, so I'm just gonna take this. This is really tricky. It's like, there you go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna zip tie this in place while we, because I don't want this to unravel anymore. So we're gonna secure it in place like that. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna connect our plug. Once our plug is connected, we're gonna cut the zip tie and the whole thing is gonna go right in. It's gonna fall into place. And then we'll just burn the ends. All right. So we're gonna do the negative. And we're gonna crimp it in. Then we're gonna check it, make sure it's nice and tight, and it's nice and secure there. The connection's good. All right, so now we're gonna do the next one. Take the cap off and put the positive wire in. This mesh does not want to be shrink any more than what it is. Alright, so that should be good. Hang on a second. Alright, so we got the two ends crimped up. Now we're gonna carefully use the heat gun and just finish the rest. All right, so now we're going to take a zip tie, cut it, and she's going to want to unravel real fast. So that's pretty good. So now what we're going to do is this hand, we're going to hit it with the heat gun. Alright, so I guess I could use a cigarette lighter, but that's not too bad. I'm just testing to see which end does the better, the cigarette lighter or the heat gun. Alright, let's do this side. I just put a zip tie here so it don't unravel, and I trim the excessive with the scissors. Actually, like this. So I trimmed it a little bit, and then I'm gonna just try this real quick. You don't need much fire. I just don't want it too close to the motor. I think that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Doesn't look like it's gonna unravel. And you gotta be careful because this stuff lights up really quick. Alright, I think that's pretty good. Alright, so now I'm going to take an extra step. I'm going to put a zip tie there, just to be on the safe side. Okay, that's nice and snug. Trim that. And this end, I'm going to do the same thing too. So it looks nice and professional. Alright, that's nice and squeezed there. Alright, so we got our connector done. Now we're going to do the other plug. Alright guys, so we're going to do our first hole in the front. We're going to be using a 7/64 drill bit for a pilot hole. And then we're going to use the step drill bit to do a 1-inch hole so that we could install our connector. And then after we finish making that hole, we're going to go to the back. We're going to do another hole so that way we could run the wires to the battery. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, so I drew the first pilot hole. Now we're going to be doing the 1-inch hole. Alright, I got the hole in the front clean. Now I'm going to take the connector, insert it in, and see how it fits. And it fits like a glove. Perfect. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we got to go to the back, make one more hole, and run the wires. Alright, I'm going to drill my pilot hole. And now I'm going to drill my 1-inch hole. Alright, so I'm going to run my Garner fishing wire. And I'm going to run this to the back. It wants to go to the front. There we go. It wanted to go to the front, but I did not want it for it to go to the front. I wanted for it to go to the back. That sounds pretty good, so let's go and check in the back, see what we got. And sure enough, I see it there. I got an arrow that I use to just lift up. There you go. Alright, so I got it over here, and the next step is gonna be I'm gonna run some kite string. And this is an additional step. You don't have to do this. I just feel better doing this. That way I could just trace the wire a lot smoother. And I know exactly where it's going because this is so thick, you know what I mean? All right, let's see. Now I'm gonna wind this back in. And there you have it. And we'll just tie it over here for now. Alright, so I got my 8th grade wire that I'm going to be running to the back. And this is AWG marine grade, okay, size 8. Alright, so I'm going to tie this. And I'm going to secure it. This wire is really heavy, but this is really good stuff. This is really good stuff. I'm doing this really nice so it don't snags anywhere. Okay. So now I'm going to run to the back and start guiding it. Go back to the front. And there it is. Sorry about that. Just wanted to make sure that I didn't lose my I didn't break my string. Alright, so we're going to attach our connector to the wire and we're going to crimp it. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to trim these because these are too small. So we're going to trim these and connect them there. Alright, so I got the connector installed. Don't forget to put your shrink tubes in there too. Although this is waterproof, I just want to give it double protection. Alright, so I'm going to heat these up. And now I'm going to get my, I'm going to let it cool down a little bit. And then I'm going to hit it. I'm going to put the shrink tube. Alright, so I'm going to slide my shrink tube on both ends. And we'll heat them up. Alright, so now I'm going to cut this wire tie there that was holding the wire, so preventing from slipping back in, and then we're going to put some silicone on this and install it. Alright, so I added a piece of wire tube just to make it look nice and keep everything together. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some silicone on this and drill 2 holes and insert it. Alright, that looks pretty good. Then the excessive silicone, we'll clean that after. And measure the holes. Just make sure it's nice and straight. That's good. And guys, just make sure you don't over tighten. And the excessive silicone, we'll clean that and we'll go to the back. Alright guys, so this is the excessive wire extra. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it right about here, and then I'm going to trim this and attach these to this end, and that way we'll attach that to the yakattack grommets. Alright, so let me just cut this. Alright, so this is the piece we're not going to use. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this and open it all up and attach these butt connectors. Alright. Alright guys, so we're going to connect the connector to the wire, and we're going to crimp this in. Okay, so that's nice and secure. We're going to do the other one. And always make sure you tug on it to make sure that it's nice and snug. Now what we're going to do is this wire, this was the leftover from the motor wire. Now what we're going to do is we're going to attach this protective sleeve on this. So just like we did the motor part. And just feed it all the way through. This stuff is really nice. I love this stuff. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these, trim these, so that way we could attach them to our wires there. Alright guys, one thing that I want to mention that you don't want to forget, make sure you take your yakattack bracket and grommets and insert these in, or else you're going to have to do this all over again. And take your B grommet, insert it on the wire, and your other B wire, grommet, insert them in, because these are what's going to attach to that big hole. This is going to go like that, okay? So for now we'll just leave it like this. I'm going to trim these and connect them to this. Alright, so like I mentioned, I have my grommet, my yakattack grommet in place. I put a zip tie on this so it don't unravel. I got my shrink tubes in place for additional coverage. And now I'm going to take the positive, insert it there, and we're going to crimp this. Pull on it, that's nice secure, and we're going to do the same thing with this one. Grip it tight. That's nice and secure. So now what we're going to do is we're going to heat this with the heat gun and then put the shrink tubes. Alright, so we're going to let these cool and then we'll slide the shrink tubes. Alright, so now we're going to slide our shrink tube. And we're gonna heat them up. Okay, now we're gonna cut the zip tie, slide the wire in, put some silicone on this grommet, and insert the yakattack bracket. Alright, so I got the grommet in place. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some silicone on the inside, and then I'm gonna install it and bolt it in. Now these grommets, they seal pretty good. I'm just doing this for added measures. Alright, so I got plenty of silicone in there. And now I'm gonna just insert it in the slot. I'm gonna get my screw in. I'm not going to over tighten it. I got to get the other screw started in. And guys, you don't have to over tighten this. Alright, so I got that nice and secure. Now I'm going to get the battery and connect the battery. Alright guys, I got the back all sealed and connected. I got the wires connected to the battery. And like I said, that's the temporary battery that I'm going to be using for now. Guys, always make sure that you have that fuse installed there. Actually, this one came with the motor, so make sure you leave that there on the positive side. Alright, so let's see the front. Alright, I got the front connected. And it's powered up. The battery's only got 12 volts. It hasn't been charged, but it's working fine. All right, so let's turn it on. A second, third, fourth, fifth. Nice. And that's off right there. Let's try the reverse. That's reverse. All three gears, nice. Alright, so let's turn it back on. Now let's check the blade. Beautiful. Alright. There you have it. Alright guys, thank you for sticking with me on this electric kayak motor install. It came out really nice and I can't wait to put it in the water and do some fishing. So guys, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share. And leave a comment. Don't forget to leave a comment on the section below. And like always, God bless you, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.